In Oklahoma, Agent 355 is building a bomb for a guy who will sell it to a group of domestic terrorists. He makes her wait in the other room because those men wouldn't like having a black woman building their weapons. 355 sneaks out the back window and uses her phone to set off the bomb, killing everyone inside. Afterward, she runs down the road and notices many dead deer with blood coming out of their eyes and ears. At that moment, she's picked up by a fellow agent, who has a new job for her related to the President of the US. Meanwhile, the President's daughter Kimberly is promoting her book about cancel culture. While she's getting her family ready for the event, her sons find a dead mouse with blood coming out of all its orifices. That night, magician Yorick asks his girlfriend Beth to marry him. However, Beth is planning to move to Australia to study in college, and since Yorick doesn't have a proper job, she thinks he'll just hold her back. While they argue, Yorick's monkey Ampersand keeps screeching in his crate. Beth can't see how they can have a marriage when Yorick continues to be irresponsible, so she leaves. In DC, the Congresswoman's assistant Christine and her boyfriend meet for a date. Their sweet moment is interrupted by a mouse running between their legs, followed by a police horse almost knocking them over. The horse runs straight into traffic, causing many cars to get off the road. Suddenly, a horde of rats appears in the street, so the couple rushes to get on top of the car. The rats pass by but leave many dead bodies behind. In an ambulance, Yorick's sister Hero chats with her co-worker Mike, who claims that he's told his wife about their affair. He promises they can now have a future together, and they end up getting naughty in the back of the ambulance. When Mike goes outside to pee, he sees a dog vomiting blood. He returns to the ambulance and finds Hero with his phone. She's angry because he's still getting happy texts from his wife, which means he lied about telling her everything. An argument ensues and Hero throws random objects at him, so a furious Mike starts slamming her against the wall. A desperate Hero hits him back with an oxygen tank and accidentally slashes his throat, killing him. The next morning, a police officer notices a dead dog in the ambulance that has been reported as missing. He bangs on the back door until he collapses. A confused Hero checks on him only to find him dead on the ground. At home, the President's assistant Nora prepares food for her children, but only Mackenzie comes down for breakfast. She says her brothers didn't wake up. Nora rushes to awaken the rest of the family but is horrified to discover that her husband and sons are dead. In Washington, D.C., 355 arrives with a new identity and takes a post in a briefing room pretending to be a Secret Service agent. The President mentions that they got a distress call from Israel before his nose starts bleeding. Suddenly he collapses, and soon all the men around him do the same. Panic takes over society as every man in the world instantly falls dead, no matter their age or race. Male animals are also dying. Accidents become common as cars and planes with male pilots crash all over the place. Desperate women try to do CPR and stop the bleeding to no avail. Female politicians are given masks for evacuation, but before leaving, 355 sneaks into the bathroom to activate a tracking device in her pocket. The only living man is Yorick, who is woken up by Ampersand throwing food at him. He notices that Beth hasn't come back and there's no signal on his phone. When he looks out the window, he finally sees the chaos in the city. 8 days later, 355 enters a post office and opens a secret door. In the hidden room, she moves some bodies and connects her device. She tries using the radio, but there's no answer. Then she gets a box with personal items, including a necklace and an envelope that reads "Not yet." Inside is a piece of paper with an address. At the White House, furious protesters are gathering around the fence and getting more violent by the second because there's no power or water. 355 approaches Congresswoman Jennifer, who has become the new president. She explains that she's a member of a covert task force and was sent because there was a threat against the president, but she doesn't know what it was. Everyone starts to freak out when the White House gets overtaken by the riots, but Jennifer gives a speech to calm them down. 3 weeks after the incident, Yorick goes out wearing a mask. He's painting a message on the walls telling Beth that he's alive and only signing it Y. Suddenly, a helicopter that has been stuck on a rooftop starts falling right above Ampersand. Yorick runs to grab his pet and jumps away just in time to avoid the crash. On day 63, politicians talk about evacuating New York City. 355 tells Jennifer that it's possible her daughter Hero got out before things got really bad, so Jennifer orders her to find her. Meanwhile, Hero is staying at a refugee center and is surprised to discover that Mike's wife and daughter are staying there too. She returns to the ambulance and checks Mike's pockets. She finds a pacifier, which she leaves on Mike's body before taking his ID. Back at the refugee center, Hero gives the ID to Mike's wife. The lady realizes Hero is the woman that Mike had an affair with and says that at least he didn't die alone. In the evening, Hero goes looking for some old friends but only finds Sam. He's a transgender man and has spent the last few weeks explaining this to people who keep harassing him for being alive. Sam is running out of testosterone and asks Hero to contact her mother as a favor, even if they haven't talked in years. In town, Yorick continues to go from house to house leaving messages for Beth. Eventually he goes to Hero's apartment but doesn't find his sister. Suddenly he hears an intruder breaking in, so he tries to attack her with a guitar. However, the intruder is 355, who easily knocks him down. Moments later, the chopper drops Yorick at the White House and he gets to reunite with his mother Jennifer. 355 orders the helicopter pilots not to tell anyone about Yorick and keeps them locked in an office until she gets new orders. In the middle of the night, Yorick notices that Ampersand has escaped his crate and goes looking for him. The former president's wife Marla sees someone roaming in the corridors and goes to investigate, getting quite a shock when she sees a man. Yorick rushes to hide while 355 and Jennifer talk to Marla, convincing her that she was just dreaming. The next day when Christine comes to check on her boss, she accidentally finds Yorick and Ampersand in the room. She promises to keep the secret, but 355 thinks too many people know and Yorick should be moved somewhere safer. They start arguing about which doctor they should trust to examine Yorick to hopefully find a cure for frozen male embryos. 355 thinks the best geneticist is Allison Mann, but the others are against the idea because she has a bad history with the government. In Israel, doctors are taking care of the survivors from one of the many accidents caused by the tragedy. Regina finally wakes up from her coma and when she hears the news, she explains that she was next in line for the presidency. Jennifer only took over because everyone thought Regina was dead. The news soon reaches the White House and Jennifer's team agrees they'll back her up because Regina is too crazy to rule. However, Kimberly has heard the news too and is gathering all the right-wing wives to throw a coup if necessary. Worried about the upcoming political fight, Jessus authorizes 355 to take Yorick to the geneticist. Since nobody can leave the building without an ID check, 355 puts Yorick inside a bag and takes him out with a pile of bodies. For extra security, they'll be leaving in 2 helicopters, one with the 2 pilots and the other with Yorick and 355, who knows how to fly too. In the middle of the trip, Yorick is shocked to see the chopper with the pilot suddenly blow up and crash. At a theater, 355 is doing a fantastic performance. Suddenly she starts feeling weird and is about to fall off the stage. At that moment she wakes up and discovers she's been sleepwalking. She almost walked off a cliff but stopped just in time. It turns out 355 and Yorick have ditched the chopper to avoid getting attention and have camped for the night. In the morning they find a market in town and 355 exchanges the helicopter generator and a grenade for a bike. At that moment Yorick thinks he sees Beth and chases after her, only to accidentally end up in the stables. He's then surrounded by the market cops, who bring him down and unmask him. Yorick pretends he's transgender to avoid trouble but they still want to take Ampersand. Thankfully 355 shows up just in time to beat all the cops up so they can run. The cops still chase them as they open fire, killing one of the stall owners by mistake. The duo gets on the bike and successfully escapes. Meanwhile Hero and Sam are traveling to DC, although Hero is obviously not happy about having to see her mother again. They stop at an empty house to spend the night and get excited when they find a car in the barn. After Sam falls asleep, Hero sneaks into the barn and sabotages the car. The next morning, Sam is disappointed that the car doesn't work and the duo continues traveling on foot. They go to a pharmacy for supplies but it's empty. Suddenly they hear a noise and follow it to find Mackenzie hiding on a shelf. Her leg has an infected wound and Hero volunteers to help. When Nora sees them she threatens to attack with an axe, but Sam quickly disarms her and Hero clarifies that she's a paramedic. After taking care of the wound, Hero offers to take Nora and Mackenzie to the house. Sam is frustrated because he can tell she's delaying the trip. In the house, Hero tells Nora that Mackenzie needs antibiotics, and the best place to get them is the camps. Nora is frustrated because the nearest camp is DC, which she just left. When everyone goes to bed, Hero and Sam snuggle and end up kissing. Sam interrupts it and asks what happened to the car, but Hero only talks about staying in this house and starting over. Meanwhile Nora goes outside for fresh air and sees 3 horseback riders coming. The trio in the house tries to come out when they hear screaming, but they're blocked by an armed woman. The 3 riders take the group to the barn, ready to shoot them. Nora convinces them not to do it by mentioning that Hero is a doctor. Moments later Hero is brought to a warehouse to take care of a woman with gunshot wounds. Hero does the best she can, but the woman is still in bad shape. Leader Roxanne decides to shoot her to put her out of her misery. She still appreciates what Hero did and agrees to let her group stay with them. It turns out the warehouse is part of a huge retail store so they have food and medicine. When Yorick and 355 drive to Boston, they discover that the city has become a war zone. There are lots of flyers calling Jennifer a liar and claiming that the virus is a hoax. They hide as a military caravan passes by announcing a curfew. The duo sneaks around until they come across a military security checkpoint. 355 makes Yorick hide, then she approaches the soldiers and convinces them to let her pass by pretending she's an Air Force member. She asks about the geneticist but the soldiers inform her that the lab is destroyed and they don't know what happened to the owner. Afterward the duo goes to the geneticist's apartment but they don't find her there either. 355 is surprised to see a crib since the file didn't mention any kids. They notice many pictures of the Union Club of Boston so they head there. At first the place appears to be empty but suddenly Allison surprises Yorick from behind, stabbing him in the back before he manages to bring her down. Allison is the geneticist they've been looking for and she gets very excited when she realizes that Ampersand is male. 1 survivor may be a lucky chance, 2 means a hidden reason. 355 wants to take Allison to DC but she refuses, saying that she doesn't like the government and that she lost all her research. Instead, Allison wants to go to San Francisco, home to the only lab containing the necessary software to continue her work on human cloning. While 355 takes care of Yorick's wound, Allison points out that he is living proof that the government was covering something up. Then 355 goes to get her phone since she's supposed to call Jennifer with an update, but instead she breaks it. She tells Yorick that the phone accidentally broke and she needs to go out to find a new one, so he needs to stay with Allison and charm her into changing her mind. Sometime later 355 arrives at the address from the envelope and finds a sealed house. She enters through the window and is suddenly attacked by an armed woman. A fight ensues and after exchanging several painful blows, they get stuck in a standoff. They realize they're both agents looking for the person who recruited them into their secret organization. Unfortunately, this other agent doesn't have any clues about their mentor's location either, but she reveals that she was pulled out of a mission and sent to Washington on the day of the tragedy, so it seems their organization knew something would happen. Afterward 355 returns to the club and claims that Jennifer authorized the trip to San Francisco, so the three of them leave together. In 355's bag, there's a tracking device. In DC, Jennifer is informed that one of their helicopters was found on a crash site along with the remains of the pilots. Jennifer wonders if 355 killed them to cover it all up. Meanwhile, Christine goes to the bathroom and has a breakdown in the stall as she bleeds. Kimberly checks on her and Christine confesses that she thinks she's having a miscarriage. After bringing her new clothes, Kimberly takes Christine to see a nurse, who performs an ultrasound and assures her the baby is fine. Eventually Regina arrives in a wheelchair and everyone receives her with applause, but it's clear that most of the staff isn't happy to see her. Kimberly speaks to her in private and Regina reveals she doesn't need the chair at all. These two women didn't get along in the past, but now they agree to team up against Jennifer. Later Kimberly checks on Christine, who reminds her to keep her pregnancy a secret because she doesn't know if she's keeping the baby. Kimberly shocks her by saying she's willing to raise the child if Christine doesn't want it. At the Boston security checkpoint, a group of bikers arrives asking about 355 with a picture of her. Meanwhile, the trio is taking a break and they decide to join a ritual that the locals do every Sunday as a tribute to all the people who died. Soon the bikers also join the ritual and 355 gets suspicious, so she tells her friends it's time to leave. On her way out, she pickpockets one of the bikers and finds the picture of herself. The trio decides to hide in a church and when 355 gives them very vague explanations, Yorick realizes she never talked to his mom. 355 wants to concentrate on their enemies and proposes to booby-trap the building. In the middle of the night, Yorick can't sleep and tries to talk to 355, only to realize that she's sleepwalking. He stops her from falling over the ledge just in time. In the morning Allison finds the picture and shows it to Yorick, saying that the bikers must be after 355. She wants to escape with Yorick and leave 355, but Yorick refuses. Then he tries to talk to 355 about her sleepwalking, but she just tells him off and reminds him to hide. Tired of 355's attitude, Yorick tells Allison that he does want to escape with her. Meanwhile, Roxanne is leading a support group. She tries to make Mackenzie talk about the creepy comments men used to make about her, but Nora gets angry and stops them. At that moment the alarm rings announcing intruders. All the women grab weapons and run to their positions while Roxanne goes outside to meet the visitors. A small family that includes a child asks for help but Roxanne kicks them out. In the communal bath, the girls tell Hiro that she mustn't feel shame and share how Roxanne saved their lives. Hiro knows she's supposed to leave with Sam but she's getting intrigued by the life here. In the evening, the women hold a special ritual during which a girl is covered with dirt so she can leave her old life behind and be reborn. The girl is then baptized in a tub and she chooses Athena as her new name. Sam thinks it's all nonsense and leaves the room but Hiro is very curious. Kelsey follows Sam out and advises him not to show his disdain for their activities. She also reveals that the girls aren't allowed to be alone with him. Later Roxanne talks to Hiro in private. Hiro admits she killed Mike, so Roxanne assures her that if she stays, she'll be allowed to start over and forget about all her old sins. Meanwhile, Nora wakes up when she hears a noise. It turns out Athena and some other girls are beating Kelsey up for speaking to Sam alone. In DC, a general informs Jennifer and Regina that her people have found 355, who is under suspicion of treason. The general turns on the radio so they can hear the mission live. In the church, 355 discovers that Yorick and Allison are gone. The bikers see the duo escaping through the forest and go after them, thinking one of them is 355. However, the actual 355 is sneaking around and quietly knocks out two of the bikers. The third one puts up a fight and opens fire, so Allison has to help 355 bring her down. The last soldier finds Yorick and chases after him until 355 knocks her out too. She also breaks the radio so DC loses contact with them. Yorick lies to his friends, claiming that the soldier didn't see his face to stop 355 from killing her. In the morning 355 steals fuel and an RV so the group can keep moving. In the middle of the road, 355 falls asleep at the wheel and the vehicle crashes into a tree. When Allison wakes up later, she finds Yorick unconscious and 355 missing. Suddenly they're surrounded by armed women who kidnap them. When the soldiers are taken back to the Pentagon, the woman who saw Yorick and the monkey mentions this to the politicians. Jennifer tries to cover it up by pointing out how ridiculous the idea of a single male survivor with a monkey is. In secret, Jennifer asks Christine to reassign these soldiers so they won't spread their story. Afterward, Jennifer goes outside to talk to the protesters, trying to calm them down. She interrupts herself when she sees Beth in the crowd and immediately makes the guards bring her in. Beth shares what she's been doing and Jennifer doesn't correct her when she mentions that Yorick must be dead. They talk about the old days before Beth announces she can't stay. She leaves the building and meets with some rebels to give them information about what she saw inside. In the meantime, Regina tells Kimberly about the story the soldiers brought back. Marla overhears her and drops her glass, realizing that she didn't imagine seeing a man with a monkey some nights ago. Regina and Kimberly think Marla's story is real, but they need actual proof if they want to bring Jennifer down. While they argue, Marla goes to the main room and yells at Jennifer for making her think she was crazy. Everyone still thinks Marla is insane, so the awkwardness of the moment makes it easy for Jennifer to send Marla back to her room. That night, Kimberly returns to her room and finds a note from her mother. She rushes to the roof, but it's too late. Marla has already self-deleted. In the morning, Yorick wakes up in a bed next to a mysterious woman. He goes looking for Ampersand and finds a group of women in the kitchen. They start interrogating him and he accidentally refers to Ampersand as he, so he has to explain he has no idea why he and his monkey survived. Soon more women arrive to discuss what they'll do with Yorick. In the woods, 355 also wakes up and rushes back to the vehicle, only to find several bodies and one of them wearing a necklace. It turns out this is the memory of how she lost her family. At that moment she wakes up for real and discovers she's been locked up with Allison in a prison cell. They discuss what to do until Yorick is brought to the cell too. 355 wants to escape by fighting their captors and Yorick thinks it's a bad idea because those women are this prison's former inmates. Since 355 insists she can take them, Yorick asks her to prove it with a fight. It takes 355 2 seconds to overpower Yorick and almost choke him with her shoelaces. Then she ends up puking because her body is still sore after the crash. At that moment a woman enters the cell to announce they're letting the trio stay. In the woods near the retail store, Roxanne discovers a woman trying to escape. She tries to make her come back but the woman refuses, so Roxanne shoots her. Then she rushes back to the store and pretends they're under attack. Later, Hero starts practicing how to shoot and Roxanne compliments everyone with another anti-men speech. Sam is clearly uncomfortable but Roxanne reminds him that survival is important and convinces him to practice too. Inside, one of the girls informs Nora that she and Mackenzie will have to leave soon. Nora rushes to yell at Roxanne, who admits the invitation was never permanent and Nora simply doesn't fit in. A flashback shows how Roxanne used her detective training to rescue a group of women from a domestic violence shelter. She brought them to the store and offered them a new life. In the present, Nora asks Sam to escape together, but he turns her down and says he doesn't trust her. Afterward, Sam talks to Hero and asks her to leave together, but Hero wants to stay. An argument ensues and gets loud enough for the others to hear. Roxanne interrupts them and tells Sam to apologize to Hero, however he refuses and leaves in a huff. In the middle of the night, Sam steals some supplies. Roxanne catches him so he confesses that he's just taken enough to sustain himself for a couple of days. Roxanne lets him abandon the place. Another flashback shows Roxanne getting rid of all the bodies in the store. When she sees a horse, she follows her until she finds the group in the shelter. In the present, Hero is crying over Sam's departure. Roxanne tells her that men are useless and brings her outside where the girls are having a bonfire. Everyone burns something that belonged to the men in their lives and Hero throws a piece of Sam's clothing. Watching all this from afar, Nora tells Mackenzie that it's time to return to DC. However, Mackenzie doesn't want to leave and joins her new friend's party. After the party ends, everyone is sleeping heavily because of all the drinking. Only Nora is awake and she finds a gas can, which she empties on a line to guide the bonfire to the building. Soon the whole store is on fire and everyone has to run outside to avoid getting hurt. In another flashback, Roxanne tries to push a police car into the river to no avail. It turns out she isn't a real cop, she's actually the store's assistant manager. Her husband was the cop but he left her after her cancer made her lose her life savings. After cleaning the store, Roxanne shoots a gun in the air to scare the girls in the shelter, then she can pretend to be a detective to save them. In the present, Nora tells Hero that she knows Jennifer well and she'd be happy to see her daughter, but Hero refuses to go to DC. Then Nora steals some supplies and hides them near the river together with a gun. At that moment she sees a bird floating on police lights and follows it to find the police car with Roxanne's name tag inside. Another flashback shows Roxanne hiding in the store when two women come in and shoot each other at the same time. Roxanne steals their weapons and now every time someone tries to come in, she immediately shoots them. She kills so many intruders that her aim improves a lot. In the present, Nora tells Roxanne that she knows her secret. She agrees to keep it but in exchange she wants to be allowed to stay and have food privileges. Roxanne agrees while remembering how her old boss wouldn't take her harassment complaint seriously. In the meantime, 355 goes for a run to get her body back in shape. However, she collapses and keeps having visions about her childhood that mention a mysterious secret. Later Sonia confronts 355 about the tracking device she found at the crash site. 355 refuses to answer her questions and Sonia tells her she should at least be honest with Yorick. After Sonia leaves, 355 remembers her mentor teaching her a few things and how she built that bomb. Meanwhile, Hiro is walking through a warehouse where men's voicemails are being broadcast over loudspeakers. She comes out of this hall of voices into a makeshift hamlet where women are honoring their fallen men and sharing information. Hiro memorizes all the details about the place and sends them back to Roxanne, who guides all her women to attack. The group starts destroying all the shrines and even Hiro enjoys breaking things. Nora tries to stop them from destroying supplies too and has to use violence to be heard. After the raid is over, Nora yells at Roxanne for letting the girls destroy valuable resources, but Roxanne doesn't care and leaves to spend time with Mackenzie. Hiro is hanging out with the other girls, who congratulate her for killing her boyfriend. This makes Hiro realize that Roxanne didn't keep her secret. Afterward, Roxanne announces they'll hunt down every man that may have survived, which Nora thinks is a waste of time. One of the women from the shrine shows Nora a picture of a guy and shares the rumors about the man in Boston. She also mentions places with electricity. Interested in the buildings with power, Nora pretends to change her mind and tells Roxanne they should go after Yorick. At the Pentagon, Regina and the general are plotting to bring Jennifer down, but Kimberly is too depressed to care. She stares at a glass shard and has some dark thoughts. In the tunnels, Beth and the rebels set up a bomb. Meanwhile, Christine tells Jennifer about her pregnancy, but they're interrupted when Jennifer is called to the main room. Regina has a picture of Yorick and the soldier confirms it was him that she saw during the mission. Kimberly accuses Jennifer of driving her mother crazy and tries to bring her reputation down in front of the team. Jennifer has no choice but to come clean and explains she kept the information classified to protect their only chance of survival. Regina insists she needs to quit and the team agrees with her. At that moment, the bomb in the tunnels blows up, killing 2 guards in the process. When the general receives the news, she sends all the politicians to the bunker, but they'll have to cross a tunnel to reach it. As they do so, the power goes out and the rebels surround them with enough weapons to force the general and her soldiers to surrender. Everyone is tied up and Jennifer realizes one of the masked rebels is Beth. The captured soldiers are taken away while the politicians are brought back to the main room. Soon the military contacts the rebels through the radio and asks to speak to Regina, whom they consider the president. Kimberly takes over the radio and tells the soldiers where they are, so the rebel leader slaps her for it. Jennifer tries to negotiate with the rebels but Regina interrupts her, saying that Jennifer can't get them anything and she's the real president. The women start arguing and the rebel leader has to shoot her gun in the air to shut them up. Beth points out that since the military now knows where they are, they'll be here soon, so the leader agrees to move. The rebels push the politicians out of the room before setting it on fire. As they cross the Hall of Heroes, Regina tells the rebels that the tragedy was a conspiracy by Jennifer and that her son is still alive. The leader is annoyed and shoots Regina in the head. Beth is upset because they weren't supposed to hurt anyone. Then the leader tells her soldiers to drop Regina's body outside and tell the military that Jennifer will be next if they aren't allowed to leave. As the group crosses another corridor, they discover that tear gas is being sent in through the vents. The military uses this distraction to burst in and a gunfight ensues, causing the group to spread. In the chaos, even some politicians are shot down. As people keep dying all over the place, Kimberly drags Christine away. A rebel tries to attack them but Kimberly quickly stabs her to protect Christine's baby. Beth drags Jennifer away too and asks about Yorick, so Jennifer confirms he's alive. Back to Yorick, he learns from Sonia that the inmates took over the town by killing all the female guards, who had locked the inmates up and abandoned them after the tragedy. Meanwhile, 355 continues to have visions of her past. Her training was very rough and whenever she had a breakdown, her mentor would just push her to keep going without caring about her feelings. These bad memories make 355 destroy the tracking device with a rock. Sometime later, Roxanne's group finds the inmates' compound and considers attacking even if there are no men just to get all the supplies. The group hides in the local pool and discusses strategies for their attack. At that moment they're found by 2 inmates who try to kick them out, but Roxanne's girls outnumber them and send them away. Before leaving, the 2 ladies mention that there's no government anymore because the president was shot, and now Hiro thinks her mother is dead. After having another vision of her mentor, 355 looks for Yorick and announces they're leaving the next day. An argument ensues because Yorick wants to stay and he thinks Allison isn't capable of fixing anything. Allison overhears this and decides to spoil the surprise going away party the inmates are throwing for them. That night, Jennifer and Beth hide in an abandoned house. Suddenly they hear an intruder coming in and Beth immediately attacks with her taser, only for Jennifer to realize this is Sam. He tells them that Hiro is alive but also that there's a van outside watching the house. The trio tries to escape but all the doors are soon surrounded by mysterious people who capture them. In the meantime, Allison cuddles with 355, hoping that her presence will stop her from sleepwalking. Yorick is at the party with Sonia and tells her about the lab in San Francisco, which was supposed to be a secret. Sonia admits she was in jail for murder, but Yorick kisses her anyway and they end up getting dirty. Meanwhile, Kimberly dreams of being pregnant again and Yorick coming for her to get naughty. She wakes up inside a barn with Christine and announces that she knows how to restore everyone's futures. All she needs is Yorick. When 355 wakes up, she's glad to notice that Allison's idea worked and she didn't leave the bed. However, she's horrified to notice a tracking device on her window. At that moment, Roxanne's group arrives in town and 2 inmates try to stop them, so a few warning bullets are shot. Hearing the noise, 355 asks Sonia to take Yorick and Allison to a safe place. Afterward, 355 and a transgender man surrender to the attackers as part of a plan. As the duo is led through the forest, 355 pretends her leg is hurting as a distraction and quickly knocks both girls out. On the street, Roxanne keeps monologuing. This gives the inmates the chance to reach the roofs and open fire. Chaos takes over as both sides start losing people and Mackenzie wants to help a friend who got shot in the shoulder. Nora wants her to stay hidden, but Mackenzie assures her she's strong, so Nora provides cover and together they move the body to a hiding spot. In the forest, Hiro hears a noise and chases after it. When she gets close enough, she finally sees her brother, but before she can react, Sonia shoots her down. Thankfully, it only wounds her arm and the siblings reunite with a hug. Hiro tells Yorick that their mother is dead and that Roxanne's group wants to kill him. At that moment, a woman kills Sonia from afar, so Hiro forces Yorick and Allison to run. Then she shoots the attacker and cries because she's killed a teammate. While 355 joins the fight, Nora sees all the deaths surrounding them and notices that Roxanne is about to get shot. Nora comes out saying they surrender and the inmates hold their fire. Roxanne is furious about this and insults everyone before storming off. The group retreats to the pool and Nora destroys a bunch of things in frustration. Hiro finds her and tells her about Yorick. When Roxanne comes back to insult everyone for surrendering, Nora shoots her and Roxanne falls dead in the pool. The girls pull out their weapons, but Nora tells them they don't need to reinvent themselves anymore. Hiro shows her support to mark her as the new leader. Later, 355 reunites with her friends. Yorick is having a breakdown because his mom is dead and his sister is in a cult. 355 tells him that her whole family died in a car accident and if she could survive, he will too. With the president dead, she admits she has no mission anymore and lets them go. However, Yorick is tired of being helpless and asks 355 to train him. Meanwhile, Jennifer, Sam, and Beth are being held in a room that matches 355's memories. They're being watched by 355's mentor, who is using them as bait. At the same time, the trio follows the device from the window, which leads them to a van with a full tank of gas, medical storage supplies, and a map with coordinates. They suspect it's a trap but decide to follow it anyway. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.